Time to check in on the markets with our business editor, Ticky Fullerton. The Santa rally, what's happening on that front? It seems like a rather, subpar day on the market, but there's a bit going on behind the scenes.
Well, that's right. I think we're sort of bogged in snow at the moment, Kieran, on the Santa rally front. We did finish today down about 0.4%, and there are a few reasons for that. We didn't have a particularly good run-in from New York, was also down. But I think our big miners, BHP down 2.1% today, Rio Tinto down 1.3% today. Partly this is the iron ore price, which has dipped overnight about 3.6%. So having risen for weeks and weeks, it's come off a bit, $154 a tonne. It's still at 7-year highs, though. I think also, and I know you've been talking about this a lot, it's not just the coal problems with China, but both BHP and Rio were given a bit of a dressing down without coffee, weren't they, by the Chinese on the iron ore prices being too high for their liking. I think iron ore, look, it's really big stakes now if this ratchets up to some sort of disruption of iron ore. I think really the dynamics of supply and demand at the moment, we all know Brazil is having trouble getting some of its supplies out. We've also got the cyclone season, which has actually hit in northwestern Australia. So a lot of reasons for a slight drop in exports and potentially the iron ore price. So that's what's happening there. Banks were mostly lower. I think the index fell about 0.1%, but and that's despite actually the regulator APRA lifting the dividend cap. You remember it had a cap on it through this crisis of 50% of earnings. Well, that's been lifted now. Disaster, though, again for Retail Food Group. Now, look, the share price went into trading halt. The share price went down 7.7% today. This is the company behind Michelle's Patisserie and Brumby's and Donut King, Gloria Jean's. The ACCC are now formally taking Retail Food Group to court for allegedly ripping off its franchisees, about 42% of these loss-making corporate stores, and the allegations are that all these poor franchisees were sold a pup when actually the Retail Food Group knew just how badly these outlets were going. So we'll follow that with interest. Better news overnight. NASDAQ was up on Wall Street, actually, but Afterpay, Kieran, my goodness me, it's up again. It's up $110.43, and it's now confirmed that it will be, when the ASX reweights its companies, it will actually be in the top 20 ASX-listed companies, and it hasn't paid a dividend, and it hasn't made a profit yet. So that is quite extraordinary.
Wow. Wow, yeah, extraordinary. A bit like Tesla. Amazing to watch that rise. On the economic front, some good payroll numbers for today. This comes ahead of the jobless numbers on Thursday, which incidentally is alongside the mid-year budget update.
It is indeed. It is indeed. And those unemployment numbers expected to stay the same at about 7% for November, which same from October. Payrolls were quite good. They rose 0.4% for the fortnight. This is the fortnight to November 28. And the ABS data showing more than three-quarters of the payroll jobs that were lost prior to April have now come back. And that's really throwing into the fact that we're looking at possibly 700,000 jobs recovered in 6 months when we get to Thursday. But as you say, we've got MyEFO coming. The RBA minutes were the other thing that came out today. And look, the RBA talking about reasonable momentum in recent months being driven by household consumption. Slight dampness, saying that slow wages growth and lower hours worked, especially for full-time workers. But I think looking forward to MyEFO, it's going to be really interesting, Kieran, to see what the growth forecast will be, what the forecast for the iron ore price will be, because and indeed the deficit, because I think it will have made a very interesting difference.
Yep, indeed, it would have. It underpins a lot of that. Thank you, Ticky. As always, talk to you soon.